I gotta tell you, I'm nervous about this subject. This is like my third attempt at it. So today I want to talk about labels, and as a general overview, I'm sure that you do it and I do it and we all do it. We like to label things, we like to compartmentalize things. It helps us as humans to understand something. Think of all the, how we label animals and colors and music and people and good and bad and sunny and cloudy, and there's tons of labels out there. We live by labels. Everything that we do in our life is a label. And so as a person who has, I'm going to play with my pen because I'm nervous. As a person who has changed labels recently, I am struggling with this one. So to get into the area of gender and sexuality, there's differences. So in the past, I think people as a tendency tended to say that your sexuality and your gender will rule your sexuality. So in other words, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but in other words, if you're a woman, you should be attracted to a man, and that's normal. And if you're not, you're a deviant. That's been for a really long time. That's heterosexual. That's quote unquote normal. And that's how I was raised, and that's how I lived my life up until a few years ago. The heteronormative bell curve is a very large bell curve, and there's a lot of stuff within that bell curve. And I am comfortable with that. Heterosexual woman, cis woman. So and cis, this is a pretty new term that's out there, at least new to me. Cis means that you identify with the gender of your body and the gender in your head match. So you feel like a female, you look like a female, you present as a female. You are female. Same with men. They think man, they look man, they present as men. Everything matches. So that is a cis individual. So I'm a cis woman. That is my new label. I don't like the word cis personally, but that's just me. I think it means, I don't even know what it means. I think it means like all the same or something like that. It's Greek. And it's CIS. So I am cisgendered. I'm a cisgender woman. However, I'm married to a person who is transgendered, a transgendered woman, who previously identified as a male and now identifies as a female. When my partner identified as a male, he wasn't happy. He wasn't unhappy, but he thought he was broken. He didn't feel like he fit in anywhere. He was not the typical male in any case. And when I say typical, I'm thinking of my previous husband, actually, but wasn't really into porn, didn't really, do all the guy things that guys do, though he was very athletic and stuff like that. But was very thoughtful and very, I feel like I'm digging myself a hole. I don't want to stereotype guys. He was a guy that I could really talk to and entrust my stuff in, and it seemed very unusual for me. Maybe my first marriage was just not that great. It could be. Anyway, as my husband, he was very attentive and listened to me, and we did a lot of talking and stuff like that. When he decided that he was, I can't say he decided, when he discovered or realized that he was transgender, changed all the markers, he became she, new name, changed everything, passports, everything's over. She is a happier person. Um, and she no longer considers herself broken. She hums and sings when she's cooking. And she cooked before, but now she cooks happier, which is very nice. She's doesn't talk about being broken anymore. She doesn't talk about not fitting in, or the areas where she feels a little self-conscious aren't the same areas. And so her inner self identifies with the label that she puts herself as right now, which is female. So a person who's transgendered and not changed identifies as one gender in their head, presents as a different gender, and this creates what's something called dysphoria. And so the transgender people that go through a transition are working to align their inner image and thoughts and their bodies to align, and they become a transgendered individual. So I am married to a transgender woman, and I feel like I'm babbling here, but I think because the thing I struggle with is that I do not identify as a lesbian. I don't identify as gay. I don't, I'm attracted to men. Now, I guess in a loose terms, might call me bisexual. I've always admired women and stuff like that, but I haven't had any female relationships per se. I mean, kind of the stuff that happens when you're young, the experimenting, but nothing serious. And I've always had crushes on guys. It's always just been my thing. And so to find myself in this relationship early on, and still now to some extent, I struggle with this labeling thing. Like, I mean, am I gay now? Do I care? And no, I don't care. But the label somehow is important to me. What I find really important is not how people perceive me, but what they understand about me. That I am me individually, and the person that I'm married to doesn't define me. And I find myself wanting or thinking I'm defined by who I'm with. This may be a sign of just being codependent, which is a whole other subject. But anyway, I have struggled with this idea of labels, and when I talk to my partner about it, she says, why do we even have to worry about labels? What does it matter if there's not a word for it or not a label for it? And I don't know if you can see my office, but I'm kind of an organized kind of person. I have labels on everything. I like to know who I am. I guess it helps define myself, and so I've really struggled with this on and off. I know early on I was kind of thinking, again, like I said, am I gay or am I not gay? What does this make me? And stuff like this, and does it matter? And it felt like it mattered because I kept kind of struggling with it. And then as I meet people, I tend to tell them, maybe not right off, but if I'm having a conversation and spouses come up, I'll say that my partner is a transgender woman. And I've talked to my partner about that, and it feels kind of weird to say it, but I want people to understand where I'm at. I don't know why that's important to me. That's why I'm having a hard time talking about this, because I feel like I'm being judgmental or being self-conscious, or I don't know how to define it. And I'm a person who likes to read a book and understand it and learn from it and grow from it. And this whole labeling thing has not this is not easily defined. So I consider myself a hetero cis woman, and I'm married to a woman, a person who identifies as a woman, and that puts me technically into a lesbian relationship. And I struggle with that. I don't know why. I guess because it's not entirely true. I mean, my partner doesn't consider herself gay. identifies as a woman. We've talked about this. It gets very confusing, these labels, and really I think we do put too many labels on things. Why can't people just be people and their partners be whomever they're with? And why do we have to have a normal, what society says is normal out there? Why can't people just be with who they are? Because I find myself really wrapped up in that sometimes. Not in a bad way, but sometimes I'm also reminded of it. Recently, online, I was on Facebook. I commented on somebody had mentioned that they are looking for people to hang out with in the Seattle area, and she was not in the heterosexual bell curve. She identified differently, and she didn't say she was looking for dates or anything like that. She just, it sounded like she wanted some friends. And so I wrote to her and I said, hey, I live nearby, and this is the situation I'm in, and I can understand your struggle, or I can relate at the very least. And a third person, I don't want to make this too complicated, but a third person chimed in and proceeded to tell me that the LGBTQ club is not a club. The LGBTQ people are not a club, and that I shouldn't be putting myself out there as a hetero woman married to dating a trans person. I said, well, first off, I'm not dating. We've been married for 10 years. Secondly, I am not thinking it's a club. I'm not trying to belong to a club. I have my own friends. I had been just commenting on this woman's status, really, but this person really got very much in my face around me identifying as a hetero woman married to a I get confused, married to a transgender person. In fact, I don't even think she got it. She just thought that I was just trying to be part of a club, and the reason that the LGBTQ community exists in the first place is because straight people are so everywhere. It's everywhere. That's why there's June Pride, okay? Because straight people don't need pride. They own the world. Transgendered, gay, and lesbians do not, and they had to fight for their belonging, and they are still fighting for their belongings, their labels. They're fighting for those labels that they want, and I feel like I'm part of a niche inside a niche. So I have a transgender partner, person who's labeled as transgender, who gets stared at because she's transgendered, and then they look at me and go, what the hell is she doing? And I don't even know that many people, which is why I started this blog, because I don't really know many trans partners that kind of look like me. Labels are a pain in the ass, and they confuse things, especially when there's not a word for it, and there's struggle in understanding. And so I just wanted to put that out there, that this is really what I'm struggling with, this idea of labels. How do people perceive me? Not that I care, but people are going to make decisions. I make decisions about people. Everybody makes decisions about people. I think we rely on labels too much to identify people. I think we rely on labels. I think that they're misleading, and we need to stop. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.